Welcome to the webinar organized by ECRIS and Eurocities on the urban agenda on the circular economy partnership. We have a range of colleagues dialing in to listen to this presentation. We have interests that people from the cities, from the academia, from business. Before I go over the agenda, I would just like to explain a few rules of how this webinar will be conducted, some of which are technical. So as I said before, in the link that has been shared by my colleague Ferouj, you have a link to the PowerPoint presentation. But we are also sharing at the same moment on your screen. You should be able to also see the presentation. During the presentation, you will be muted by default, but there will be opportunities, as I will highlight in the agenda a bit later on, where you will be able to ask questions, and during that time you will be unmuted. But you can also pose your questions via the chat option. For your information, this webinar will be recorded and later uploaded on YouTube. I would just like to take a few seconds now to go over the agenda. So we will begin with the introduction by Håkon Jønstoff on the Urban Agenda Framework, introducing the partnership, how it works, the framework and the timelines. And later on, we will have 3 separate sections, which will introduce the partnership's actions in the area of regulation, funding, and knowledge. At the end of each of these presentations, you'll be able to ask questions and give feedback directly to Håkon. And at the end as well, I'll be doing the concluding remarks, and where you'll be able to provide more formal feedback to the circular economy partnership. So I will give the word now to Håkon to introduce the Urban Agenda Framework and the partnership in particular. I'd just like to remind you, obviously, that this webinar has been organized within the framework that the action plan of the Circular Economy Partnership has been completed and is now open to public consultation that will close at the end of March. So which will be obviously an opportunity for you to give direct, to not only to be informed more in depth of the actions that you can read on the action plan, but to also give direct input to the coordinator. And without further ado, I'll give the word to Håkon Jønstoff, who is the coordinator of the Circular Economy Partnership.
My name is Håkon Jønstoff. I'm the coordinator of the Circular Economy Partnership, which is a part of the Urban Agenda. I'm working at the City of Oslo in the Agency for Waste Management, and also the chair of Eurocities Working Group on Waste. So what is the Urban Agenda for the EU? To me, this is a unique platform for cities to influence on important policy area of the EU. And after working with Eurocities for several years, and also with other associations on Brussels, trying to lobby on EU work, this is something completely different, because we are asked to deliver a proposal for changes in the EU regulations. We will be asked to deliver a proposal for EU funding and knowledge-based. And our proposals will be regarded as important input by the Parliament, by the Council, and by the Commission on the EU work. So this is a unique platform for cities to influence on the future policy of the EU on the EU level. We are asked to deliver proposals on regulations, on financial instruments, and to have a better knowledge of the area that we are working on. There are established 12 different urban partnerships, which are in a way linked to each other by it's important for cities, policy areas that are important for cities. They are linked in 3 different themes, which means that one theme is environment, air quality, circular economy, energy transition, sustainable use of land and nature-based solutions. One is more into the digital future, and one is more into the social part of the EU policy, like jobs and skills, inclusion of migrants and refugees. You will find more information of all those 12 partnerships on the Urban Agenda webpage called Futurium, which we will give more information about later on. The Partnership on Circular Economy has been working for more than 1 year. It consists of 6 cities, 4 member states, and the relevant part of the Commission and other stakeholders, important stakeholders in the EU family, like Eurocities, CMR, the European Investment Bank, so forth. The cities are the city of Oslo, The Hague in the Netherlands, Porto in Portugal, Prato in Italy, and the Flandern region represented by OVAM. And the member states are Finland, Poland, Slovenia, and Greece. So the partnership works, put together cities, member states, and Commission and other relevant partners or stakeholders to work out proposals for better regulation, better financing, and better or more and better knowledge. We started up in 2017 by trying to identify what should we be looking into, so-called stock-taking phase, which means that we made some priorities of what we have done, and we tried to look into which themes and topics that we would like to do. During 2018, we will work on the proposed actions, and in 2019 we will try to implement those actions and make sure that either we as a partnership or other relevant bodies will fulfill the proposed actions that we have made. So the time frame is 3 years of the partnership. We have developed 6 criteria for our actions, which try to guide us for what we will propose. Most important, of course, is that this should be something that city needs. This is not something that the Commission should propose or the member state should propose. It should be based on the needs of the cities. It has to do with the circular economy. There should be a potential, an identified potential for improvement. We have to check out. It's no way to propose an action or a proposal that will never be put into work. So we need to try to see if there is some reality in our proposals. We need expertise within our partnership, which means that there are a lot of things to do within circular economy that we don't want to look into because we don't have that expertise ready. And we have to see if there is something added value by us proposing this, or is there anybody else doing the same in a better way than we can do. So all these 6 criteria have been guidelines for our work and our proposed actions. To organize our work, we divided circular economy into 4 different scopes. One looking into circular consumption. What could cities do to help our citizens to a better consumption? The next one is urban resource management. Within the city, there is nearly all the resources that we need for a circular economy will be available within the city. But how to make them ready for use, or how could we make them better ready for both for the cities, but also for businesses. And these include, of course, waste, but it's more than waste, which are resources within the city. The third one is how could cities help their enterprises to become more circular. And the fourth one is governance. how should we organize our cities to have a better governance of our cities into a circular economy. As I said, we started up 1 year ago in January 2017. Since then, we have had 7 meetings, which means that we have been working really hard and worked by a hard progress to fulfill the first important step, which is the delivery of a draft action plan, which was finished by the end of January this year. We have been through a stock-taking phase, trying to identify bottlenecks. Which bottlenecks are the most important within the different topics that we have been working on. And then after the stock-taking phase, we try to limit our topics to work with and limit ourselves into those actions that we found most relevant for the partnership. And we ended up then with 8 actions that I will tell you a little bit more about. As I said, the next step will be to work out those actions and try to find stakeholders or responsible bodies to work to implement the actions. And in the final phase of the next year, make sure that those actions actually will be implemented either by relevant EU body, by ourselves, or other stakeholders. We have made a short vision of what we have been doing. What we like to do is to try to figure out how could cities make the best out of all the resources within the city in a circular way. To do this, we need the best possible regulation, including the waste regulation or wastewater regulation or other regulations that are framework for a circular city. We need the best knowledge available, that cities that want to go in a circular direction has easy access to the best practices around in Europe and to start up with their work. And we need the funding available. We need that all the funding done by the EU system or member states will functioning for cities who wants to go in a circular direction. Our action plan has, as I said, 8 proposed actions, 2 on regulation, 2 on better funding, and 4 on better knowledge. And I will not try to go through those actions and try to explain a little bit about what we have proposed. The first one is on waste legislation. The Circular Economy Package launched some changes in the waste legislation in the Waste Framework Directive, and we know that the Council and the Parliament has reached an agreement on the changes of the Waste Framework Directive. We have not looked into that process. We have gone beyond that process, trying to identify how could the waste legislation help us in the future into circular economy. We can see by different topics that we have been searching that once you define something like waste, there is a set of regulations that are there to protect human health and the environment, but in a way could be an obstacle or barrier to have a better resource management. So what we would like to look into is there any other possibility to regulate this, to make it more easy for small entrepreneurs, for businesses, for cities to develop institutions or set of businesses that could help in reuse, repair, and even recycling. By setting some sort of other criteria between the product legislation and the waste legislation. We have not found the answer to this, but we will very much like to look more into this to try to find out if there is a possibility to set up a new regulation to make it better and easier to use the resources within the city. We can see now that The Waste Framework Directive is there to protect human health and environment. And then we are adding in end-of-waste criteria by project regulations, targets for recycling, but they are not that really fit into the waste framework or the waste perspective of the thing of resources. This is a bit controversial and definitely something that we have already experienced, that there are many questions around, and we will very much like to hear your reaction on this as well. The same problem has been discovered for the reuse of water. Reuse of water is available within the water legislation, either the wastewater legislation or the water legislation. But once again, if something is defined or in a wastewater treatment plant as wastewater, the regulations are there to protect human health and environment, not to make sure that you use the wastewater in the best possible way. In the Mediterranean area and also other areas of Europe, water is a scarce resource, and we would like to have this put higher up on the agenda to make sure that wastewater is used as much as possible within the limitations of protecting human health and the environment. Which means that we are not working or arguing for wastewater to be used as drink water, but there are a lot of other uses that wastewater could be done and could be used, and we would like to highlight this. This is very in line with the revision of the wastewater regulation and the water regulation. So together with DG Environment, we tried to find out how this could be, our view and our position could be put into that work as well. This work is led by the city of Prato, which takes on the Mediterranean view into the wastewater regulation and the need for that. The next two ones are on funding. As I said, if we want to go into a circular economy as cities.
Okan, if I may, maybe we would like to give the floor to the audience in case they have questions.
Okay.
To those. So if should anyone like at this stage have any reaction or questions to Okan, could you please do so by starting introducing yourselves?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Hi. I'm Gabrielle van Zorn from City of Antwerp, and I have a question. You are looking at the challenge of the current policy focused on waste, means the policy part of waste management and how to improve or adjust this, I assume. I was wondering, did you look into the challenge as it comes to waste, that in the current system, waste streams are usually the more waste, the more money is made by the departments or the companies that run the streams. And I was wondering if it would be an option to look at the quality of the waste streams and have a reward system for this. And the other one, how could we improve how can we reward having less waste? Because basically in the system that we have, the companies that manage the waste, do the waste management, are rewarded by selling the waste, and that means the more waste they have, the better the company works. So I was wondering if you have been looking into this question.
Yes or no. What I've been explaining now has been into the waste regulation part, which means it's a framework both for member states, cities, and also the private waste management industry and all others that create waste. So that was the legal part of it. We will develop one actions where we are looking into the incentives that cities could use towards the citizens, where we also will look into the tax systems and how to have pay-as-you-throw systems, for waste management, meaning that if you have less waste, you pay less. If you separate, you and deliver in the quality that are asked for, that we will you will get benefits from that as well. But we haven't developed that action yet, so that we will come back to. The last part of your question of the quality, it's indirectly what we are trying to look into, because the end of waste criteria is some way to define quality. If you reach the end of waste criteria, you leave the waste regulation and go into the project regulations instead. But it's very hard to do this, and it's very hard to have quality regulated by law. And this is why we want to encourage the quality to be set between two partners, either a city and industry, or between different industries. But we haven't been down to that detail level as you are indicating on quality. This is definitely something that are important in the waste management, but we try to be on a more general level than into these how to say it, more specific waste management details.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions before we enter the next section of the webinar? No? So maybe Håkon would like to continue with the funding actions?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Then I will be looking into better funding. Joanna, my presentation is still on the screen.
Yes, it is. We can see it.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. We have proposed two actions on better funding. The first one is to have a circular city funding guide. We know and have identified that there is a lot of possibilities for cities to apply for different sorts of funding for initiatives on circular economy. This will be from Horizon 2020 projects or all those other programs that are available. But how to do it and how to find these programs. So together with the European Investment Bank, we will try to find to develop a guide which would make it more easy for cities to overlook this jungle of different financing instruments and help them into how to apply for funding. This could be either for investments or for development projects. So the European Investment Bank will try to develop this guide and find the useful place where it could be put and to advertise for this tool for cities. The second one is it's more technical, but as part of the EU system, all the cohesion policies and corresponding funds will be revised now in 2018 for the post-2020. And we would like to make sure that circular economy principles are put into those funds, both as one of the criteria for apply for funding, but also that the circular economy thinking will be added into the environmental criteria that are already there in the cohesion funds. This is a little bit more technical part, and the process is going on now, so we will deliver an action shortly now before Easter, I think, on this one. This is the two ones on funding. Joanna, do you like to have questions now?
Thank you, Håkon. Are there any questions to this particular strand of actions? No? Nothing thought provoking. Okay, we'll go on to the next section, which is focusing on actions and knowledge. Thank you, Håkon.
Yes. What we experience from our work is that there are to work on knowledge and better knowledge might be more easier than to work on funding and legislation. As cities, we are not used to actually go to the step to propose changes in our regulation, but to propose need for knowledge, we are good at it, so to say. But we have 4 different actions on better knowledge. One on what we call the Circular City Portal, one on urban resource centers, one on roadmap for urban resource management, and one on knowledge pact for collaborative economy. We would like to have a blueprint for a Circular City Portal. We know there is a lot going on around in Europe at the moment. Cities that are heading towards a circular economy, member state initiatives, cities initiative for strategies, and a lot of different projects and startups for circular economy. We would like to find those and help cities that are either starting up or at advanced levels to find their city friends and to learn and to do the evolution and development of circular economy together. We know that there is a big need for this. The problem is how to manage such a portal and to keep it living and have somebody that will be responsible to do it. But this is one of the actions that we will very much like to see through during the next year, to have this city portal up and going. The next one is more detail. It's part of the city portal in a way, but we can see that a lot of cities now are developing circular or urban resource centers. The traditional recycling stations, which you all know, which is all over Europe, are now in a transformation phase into to be something else than the normal place where you deliver your waste. It will be used for repair, reuse. It could be used for startup businesses and so on. And we want to establish a network for those that are developing or make the evolutions of the recycling station into urban resource centers, to make sure that this very important tool for cities are known and developed together by the front runners. We can see that those urban resource centers both could help into the consumption, to learn people how to consume in another way, how to reuse and repair in a better way, and also to, of course, take care of the resources in a better way, waste management resources in a better way. It could also be, as I said, a point for startups, for new businesses. The third action is on develop a circular resource management roadmap for cities. This action could be both on a micro level and a macro level. Resources are available within the city, but we need better knowledge of where they are and how they are floating through a city. To develop a tool to mapping resources, this could be an important political tool for cities, but also to businesses, to make sure or to be aware of the resources and to use them in a better way for industrial processes. Resources, don't limit yourself into waste, but open up to see, for instance, all the bioresources within the city, from parks, from woods, from demolition and construction, and of course from waste, and from wastewater, sludge, and so on. The amount of bioresources within the cities is huge, and if you know them, you can use them in a better way. On microplane level, it will be more to try to link together one business that has something that is a waste or a product that they don't use with another business that can see the opportunity in it. This could be small startup businesses, it could be small businesses that could use this. And to try to develop the waste broker, we know that there is a potential for a better resource management on the micro level as well. So how to do this? will be the part of this roadmap. Collaborative economy is something that we talk about, but how to make this as a tool for cities into a circular economy. We know there are potentials in the collaborative economy, but how to use it in a better way. There has been a lot of research projects or studies on the digital platforms for collaborative economy. There has been some legal problems connected to Airbnb and so on, Uber. But how could we use this as a tool to have a better resource management within the cities? And this is what we like to develop and to find out of in the collaborative economy knowledge pack. So these are the 4 actions that we have developed on knowledge. And before we start discussing on this, I just want to mention that we have some other actions that we are still working on. One on bioresources and how cities could use bioresources in a better way. We are looking into economic incentives, as we said. We are looking into urban spaces and urban buildings in how cities could use those in a better way than we use today. So those are at least 3 other topics that we will develop actions on and deliver draft actions for that by the end of June. But now questions for the 4 knowledge actions.
Thank you, Håkan. So this will Håkan just presented the final set of actions of this stage of actions. Are there any reactions to these, the presentation in general? Any feedback or? So maybe Håkan, until when can people give feedback if they are a bit shy to do it in this webinar?
We will have feedback on the public feedback, as you said, 2 weeks now. This will be open for consultation. But in addition to that, we will very, very much like feedback either on telephone to me or by email to me on all sorts of reactions. And if you want to discuss this, we could also set up more separate telephone or email discussions after this meeting. The importance for us now is to have as much feedback as possible to improve our actions in the best possible way.
Thank you very much.
Håkan, if I may ask a question, it's a daughter from Eurocities office. So the actions, of course, that you've just presented sound all very, very interesting. So, for example, on the ones that on better knowledge, for example, if cities outside the partnerships are interested or would be interested in participating in the implementation, are there possibilities for this, assuming that they make it through the finalization of the action plan and see it all the way through?
Yes, definitely, because we need partners that could give inputs both to the Circular City portal, to resource centers, definitely those 2, and also the collaborative economy. We are looking for partners, for cities that could provide information and input to what we are doing. And so we definitely will be open to that. Cities could not be partners of the partnership because that's closed already. So, but they will be linked up to work on the different actions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if there are no further questions, I would like to thank Håkan very much for the presentation. On his last slide, as I said, you're able to give your formal feedback through the Futurium website, and the public consultation is open until the 16th of March. So this is just, until then you'll be able to provide feedback. Håkon, do you have any final remarks?
Only that we would very much like to have feedback on what we are doing. We can see that, or you can see also from on the 8 actions that we are not covering all circular economy possible actions from a city, but we have had to limit ourselves in our work, and this is not the ultimate guide into circular economy for cities, but we have identified some important areas and some actions that we would like to carry through, go through with. But all sorts of feedback from you will be very valuable, and we will thank you very much for that. So please give me feedback on email, on the Futurium public feedback, or give me a call if you want to.
Thank you very much, Håkon. And so we close with that appeal for feedback. And thank you very much for all the participants who were able to join us in this webinar. As we said in case you were not able to follow the presentation, we have sent it by email, and I'm sure you'll be able to also find a copy then in Futurium. So thank you very much for joining us, and I wish you a good day.